pjnet.tv. It is 9:29 on the East Coast, a minute early. That makes up for a few other days. And our bumper is running. That's the special Dell Didway bumper. We've also recording, I see, and the restreaming server is in sync, and Dell Didway is standing by. So let's begin our countdown to Studio 13. Well, good evening. Welcome back to pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Praisic. Great to be here among friends of the PJNet family. Those of you in our chat room, I am so grateful for your participation in this ministry. You might be watching this live. If it's 9:30 on Tuesday night on the East Coast and you're seeing this, it is live, and you are welcome to join the family over at the pjnet.tv chat room. You can watch the same video there, and you'll meet some new friends. I see plenty of people there, and you might not know some of them. Folks, every Tuesday night, it's a real pleasure to get together with Dell Didway, and he is standing by waiting to join us in our green room. I'll bring him on board. And Dell, before we get started, there's a couple of things. I'll let you mention one, but I'll mention the other. I saw in the chat room that, well, let me look for it, but one of our PJNet family members had a wife go in for some surgery today, and I can't find the particulars, so we'll have to leave it kind of open. Monty, I want to say Monty, but it may not be. But you have one a little bit closer to your heart. Personal friend.
Yeah, and I think she's a lot of friends to a lot of folks, and obviously we chatted earlier this week, and she made it public today and needs a lot of prayer, and that's Becky Lindsay, and she has a battle in front of her, one that she can overcome, and it's a scary word when you mention cancer. So.
Yeah, they never say that in the hospital either. They always.
We were right. We were talking yesterday, before actually she was going to get her biopsy, and we chatted for a little while, and she's in awesome spirits and very ready to meet the challenge. So, everybody, please, pray for her and Scott and her family. She's has some little ones. She's a grandma, so and I told her when she gets through this, she's going to have to move to Ohio. Get out of California. Yeah. I hope she will, but she'll come through it. But we appreciate everybody's remember her for the next several days, and Scott and her whole family.
Yeah, it's a tough time. Well, let's have a short word of prayer, and then we'll continue with the program. Heavenly Father, we just pause for a moment to recognize that each of us are dependent daily for each breath that we take upon you, Father. But Father, it's come to our attention, some that are close to us, that we know of, that we've got relationships with, Father, are in need of comfort, are in need of assurance, are in need of your grace and your mercy. And Father, we pray that your comfort would be upon them. Lord, I thank you for those prayers that have already been lifted up, Father. I know that you hear our prayers, and God, we just pray that through all of this, you would be glorified. We do not understand all things, Father, but we know and trust in you, and we just pray that your name would be lifted high and that your name would be exalted above all other names, and we pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
A couple of housekeeping items. For one, I saw Ken's show last night, and he gets a big place over the fireplace, which is awesome.
Well, that's because he doesn't have one of these fancy movies.
And the other thing is on your Facebook page, it is not streaming right now. So I don't know if there's a glitch.
I noticed that earlier. It is set up to do so, but it's not working. It is. It's funny because if you go to Facebook Home, it's streaming there under my account. But if you go to my page, it's not there. So go figure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. No worries. Now, but yeah, I mean, just to touch on Becky. I mean, we actually met on Twitter, actually. She was one of my first ones. I didn't know her, and then we connected and met at the time at the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference, and we've always just had a special bond. And we've come through this writing journey about the same time together. You know, we both have the same agent, and we talk quite a bit, and she's one of my closest friends, and I think I'm one of hers. So, just appreciate her and everything she's done. She'll be featured in my book that's being launched next month. She has a chapter written in it. So, very supportive of her.
Well, also a shout out to Ben in our chat room. Ben is a multiple time cancer survivor, and he has reached out to Becky and offered comfort, and that's the kind of folks that we have here. And it's not because we're righteous or that we're good. It's because we have in us the love of God. Dale, I hope that you have a topic tonight, because quite frankly, I was just kind of trying to think, well, what are we going to talk about? You're on here every week after week after week. We've talked about everything, and I just really don't know anything that would be useful tonight. So I am really hoping that you will carry the water tonight with a hot topic.
That's pretty short show. Then we better just go ahead and click it off. Well, that was a cheesy feed, wasn't it?
That I teed it up so well, and you blew it. That's
yeah, I know.
There is Dale Didway. He blogs. I'll put his website address here on the screen for you at daledidway.com. He blogs every Tuesday, and we usually start out talking about his blog tonight. But the topic of his blog today was, well, what is known in his peers as writer's block. But I'm not a writer. I read it, and I very much identify with the things that you're talking about. Sometimes it just isn't there.
Right, and a lot of times folks will force it. I obviously it was ironic. I wrote about this because I was dry. I had nothing to write about, so I thought, I have writer's block. I'm going to write about writer's block. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before or not. And I didn't know this. I, honest to goodness, didn't know this. I didn't know it was an actual condition. I started researching. I said, "Are you kidding me?" There's a diagnosis for it, and there's all this other stuff for it, and there's treatments for it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
There's probably some support group out there for it. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think a lot of writers. I'm just going on my experience. Then I think I pointed out in my blog that I didn't have time to have writer's block when I was writing for newspapers. You're on a deadline. I come back from a game. Sorry, Jim, I need some time. And he's got I have a 15, 20-minute deadline. Oh, I've got block right now. I don't think I can do it right now. Yeah. So I think doing that over the years helped me to just do it. And you got to produce. You have to produce. Or else you'll find somebody else who will. So the writer's block for me, I didn't have time for it. It didn't exist because, I couldn't. So if they tell me to write a column, sometimes I overthink about it. And it was like a self-imposed block, So, I'm a simple guy. Those of you who know me, I don't overthink things. When I get up and read the putt on the green, I don't calculate the I just get up and putt, and I don't overthink it. So the same way as writing, if I'm stuck, I just start writing, and it just comes. And there's times when I have to get up and walk away, and I'll do that. The best time for me, I have really good brainstorming sessions with myself, mostly during the spring and the summer when I'm like cutting grass. I get on the lawnmower. Nobody bugs me. I turn my phone stays in here, and I just have 2.5 hours, just sitting on the mower cutting grass, and I have a lot of time to think. A lot of times things like that will pop in my head, and I started carrying a little notepad in my pocket. So if something pops up, I just write it down, and then I do that when I go to the gym sometimes. In fact, I just got back from there. Half hour, 45 minutes on the bike. I turn everything off. I just, I don't really focus on anything else. And I've learned over the years, I do keep a little pad by my bedpost at night. And I've occasionally done that. I've gotten up and I woke up and I write something down. And if you all ever saw the Seinfeld episode where Jerry does that, he writes down this joke because he wakes up and laughing and writes his joke down, and he gets up the next morning and he can't read his writing, and so he doesn't know what joke it is. so always write legibly, So, or have a little tape recorder. I have a tape recorder, everywhere. There's those little.
Mm-hmm. You got some good ones.
This is a trusty one right here. I just always it goes with me. So I have several, but just pop it in there, and 30 seconds, you're done, and then you got it. So writer's block is real, but I think a lot of folks.
I've got one too.
Yeah. That a lot of folks have that. I always teach in my classes. It's a backup. It's a backup. You have your phone. Always have a backup, because what happens?
Yeah.
Battery dies.
Or you're making a note to yourself on your phone, and the state trooper takes note of it. You're not the only one taking
Yeah, so
notes.
I always have and I oftentimes will tape record conversations with both. I have them both out there because, man, sometimes I've learned, it's good to have a backup. So I don't want to be caught in the situation where I spend 5 minutes with Tim Tebow and I go back and, oh my gosh, I didn't get it.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen again. So have a backup. I always do that. But a writer's block is real, but I think a lot of folks use it sometimes as a crutch, and they depend on it, and I have a block. Well, yeah, I believe that, but eventually, just like in football, you got to shed the block, you got to get rid of the block, and you got to run over the block and break through the block. You got to spin move, you got to high step it, you got to get through the block, and it's there temporarily. But a lot of folks, I've learned over the years, and going to conferences and speaking at conferences, I think they use it because they're afraid.
It's a very convenient excuse, because.
Well, it is, but again, it is real, but it's only as real as as long as you let it be real. Because there's times, again, I'll be writing something and I just can't get it. I'll walk in the kitchen, I'll grab a cup of coffee, I'll go outside, I'll do something, then I'll go back at it. Because if I'm waiting for the perfect thing to happen, it's not going to happen. You just got to write through it and work through it. It's not science, it's not rocket science, and it's not this big dramatization. It's just a little brain freeze. It's just a little funk. But if you allow it to consume you, you're not going to get anything done.
Well, it's a stumbling block. It's not a brick wall that's unscalable. It's a matter of, are you going to control the writer block, or is the writer block going to control you?
Yeah.
And you have to take charge.
Well, there was a time, I think I've told this before, I got somebody really mad at me. I was at a conference, my first conference. I was in Florida as an attendee, and you meet people and you talk to them, and what are you working on, blah blah blah. And then I went next year, and this one person I remember said, "Well, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna reevaluate." Okay, great. We all need to do that. I saw this person a year later at the same conference a year later. I said, "So I'm just kind of stepping back." And I said to this person, "So you haven't done anything?" "Oh, well," I said, "No, you haven't done anything. No. You're in the same place you were." I said, "Have you?" "No, I'm just waiting on God." I get that. So you can't, when they pull out that card, you really can't argue with it. But also, you can say, are you using that as a crutch? Or are you really dependent? Now, really, come on now. You haven't done anything. You've had opportunities to do something. You just haven't done anything. Well, they got up and left. I said, you know what? And then they told me about 6 months later, they called me and they said they needed that. They needed that kick in the butt.
Tough love's a good thing, Dale, if it's offered in love.
Just honest. I'm just honest with them.
Brutal. I think brutally candid would be better.
I guess. But I said it nicely. But
what I liked about what you said is, you can acknowledge it and at the same time, step away, but you've got to manage it. But there are techniques that you bring up, and I love it, and I don't want to forget this, and I forget the exact words of the verse, but the Bible has something to say about writer's block.
Ecclesiastes, I'm looking at it. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. So if you're waiting for the perfect opportunity, for the perfect, it's not going to come. The perfect timing's not. You just got to go do it.
Have you seen these people that, and this isn't writer's block, but Zig Ziglar said it this way: if all the lights have to be green before you depart, you'll never leave. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the way Zig Ziglar said it. But have you seen these people? This is not writer's block, but it's the same thing. They're always getting ready. Have you made any sales calls today? No, I'm getting my Rolodex organized, and I found out that a lot of this stuff was obsolete, so I'm cleaning that up. And then the next day they're doing, my files were in terrible shape, and oh, by the way, my desk, I need a new desk. This desk I have is no good, and there's no end.
Well, it's a combination of procrastination, obviously, and maybe not knowing. If you don't know something, then you might want to put it off. But it all comes down to fear. Mm-hmm. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of success, too, at the time. So, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse on this. 5 years ago, I had zero ambition to write a book. Never on my list of anything. It wasn't even in the top 1,000 things on my bucket list. All right, to do is write a book. And now, 4 or 5 years later, this isn't bragging. 8 books out, 4 out this year. Kyle will tell you that you just do it, and that's not just, I'm not just special, I just do it. He tells me to do something. Hey, you might want to do this. Okay, and I do it. I don't sit back and calculate it and wait for God to send down this perfect message and this perfect signal. You just do it. You put your mind to it. You say, okay, I'll do this.
Well, and we sometimes will use this waiting on God. And I remember one time I was teaching a small group Bible study class on Gideon, putting out the fleece. Yeah. And I said, well, look, I've got 2 lesson plans today. And I said, so I put a fleece out and told God that if I was to use plan A, I went through the kind of the fleece story. Yeah. And I said, I woke up this morning and went out to check the fleece and it was gone. So, I think that we have, it's a way that we try to maintain our self-esteem and our grace, but at the same time, I think a swift kick in the butt is probably the better remedy, and say, snap out of it.
I think so. Sometimes it doesn't work with everybody. But again, it's kind of a fine line, but it doesn't work with everybody. It works with me. That's how I coach too. Sometimes that's why I love Bobby Knight. He's just a swift, That's why we're excited about this book, that Michelle and I wrote, Heart of a Hoosier, coming out in July 21st, I think. So we're excited about that because it goes over Indiana basketball and the lore of Indiana basketball. Mm-hmm. So there's today's day and age, he wouldn't survive 5 minutes on the court with today's wimpy society.
Yeah, snowflakes and such would probably not bode well with him. I think one way is to observe, how often and what pattern. I can tell if somebody's constantly whining about writer's block or headaches or, difficult, this person is not in control of their own life and cannot be counted on.
Right. Well, exactly. It's all dependability, and it's all comes down to producing. Again, I don't get a dime for writing these blogs. Nobody pays me. I just do it because I feel it's one of my callings, one of my ministry. So I do it. Again, it's just in my spare time. The books I get paid for. So
perhaps that, or at least that's the operative theory, and
the general idea. Yeah.
Well, but notice what happens here is, and Zig Ziglar said this best, we act on a deadline because a deadline acts on us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I perform better on a deadline because I was used to it. And sometimes I always turn my stuff in early. If I have a manuscript that's due, it's due early. Mm-hmm. I will, if I have, I'll go back and use one of my examples. Dugout Devotions 2 launches here next week. It was 30 chapters. I sat down and come up with a plan,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to write a chapter this day, I'll take a break this day, I'll write another chapter this day, and I plan it out. But I always come out early. I always get ahead of the game. So I operate better on a deadline, and I produce better work on a deadline. So one of the best stories I ever wrote, I'm not exaggerating this, it was a game coverage, it was a high school football game. I wrote it in 11 minutes. 11, because back then we were just timing it, because my editor said, you got 15 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh. Then whipped it out, and I had 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
and that won a major award. 11. So I didn't put all this, oh my gosh, this have to be the perfect thing. Just write it. And a lot of writers that I go to when I teach at conferences, they just want to come up with this perfect dialogue, this perfect thing. And it's not going to happen. And so don't focus on that. Focus on writing it, getting it done. And then there's a great word called tweaking. You can go back and tweak it, but just get it done.
Well, you got to have something to tweak. And, when I think about people using excuses, writer's block, and there's a long list of them, I'm sure. But one of the things you notice, you observe character. And if you're a coach, you're really dialed in. When you meet somebody, what you're sizing them up.
Yes.
And I have noticed that people, when they are due to clock in at 8:00, and they come running in the door with their hair wet at 7:59, huffing and puffing because they ran through the, well, they're not self-disciplined. And I'm very, very hard on people that are late because I can't count on them. It's not the time that they're late. I can get by 2 minutes without you.
Yeah, and there are, obviously a few circumstances where that's out of their control, but most of the time it's going to be under control.
Here's what I tell people, Dale. If it's 15 minutes prior to the time that I'm expected to be there and I'm not there, you need to place 3 phone calls. One to the jail, the hospital, and the morgue. I must be at one of those places.
Yeah. Well, I've been in traffic jams where I can't. And I'm there. I'm trying to get there early, and you run into every lanes are stopped. Oh yeah, you do. So there's times when I've been trying to catch a plane, and I've been delayed on the plane, and once people find that out, they said, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." So, I can't fly there myself. So, there are circumstances out of your control, but it's very rare that happens.
Well, when things happen, like life does happen, but when they happen to you, the people that count on you would say, that's very uncharacteristic of him. He's probably in a terrible mess.
Right.
Where other people, they don't know. They just, I guess they overslept again.
Right. Yeah. But again, I'm not diminishing the writer's block because it does happen. It is real, but it can only go as long as you allow it to. And it's okay to, if you're writing something and you have a block, to take an hour. If you take a day or two, I get it. Because writing can be stressful. When I get done with a book, I take like a month off. And I don't do anything because I still blog, but I just take a month or so off, and I don't write any manuscripts. I don't look at a manuscript. I don't do anything because you need that time away. You need to re-energize because you can get burnt out and you can get blocked. But again, I go back to some of the football terms. You got to get rid of the block. You got to run over it. You got to juke it. You got to spin move it. You got to do something.
Yeah, I couldn't tackle the guy, Coach. There was a blocker in the way.
I know there was one instance when we played baseball. Our high school coach is a good guy. He's featured in one of my books. He's a scout for the Red Sox now. But my son was, Eli was I think a freshman. I think it was a freshman, and it was a play. It was a pop up between second and right field. Actually, it was more towards right field, and it was a little rainy, a little misty coming down. And the right fielder just kind of made a couple of steps, and he was afraid. And Eli goes out basically out in right field and makes the play, right? And our coach was so mad. And after the game, he's talking to the kid, and the kid said that he kind of lost it in the rain. Didn't really want to. It was kind of muddy, and the kids and our coach was known to have a little temper at times. And I see him take his hat off. He scratched his head, and the dad is standing there, and he said, "It's okay, son." And oh my gosh, that was the wrong thing to say, because our coach threw his hat down and he says, "It ain't okay. The kid didn't make a play. He didn't make an effort. It ain't okay. Don't tell him it's okay when it's not okay."
Yeah.
It was about the effort. It was about the effort.
I had the same encounter, different circumstance, but same encounter as a coach. A parent said, well, y'all played the best you could, and some other consoling crap like that. And it's like, look at the scoreboard. I tell you who played the best they could. Look at the scoreboard. Yeah. That's how you tell.
Yeah. No. So it was just, if the kid would have made the effort and didn't make the play, it would have been okay. Not okay, but you could have handled it. You could have handled it. But he just sat there, didn't want to get muddy. And oh my goodness, the dad was trying to console him. So
yeah, I had gas on my stomach. I couldn't get over there. What other excuse you want?
Yeah. But that's all blocks. So just put forth the effort. Again, it is real. I'm not diminishing the writer's block because I've had it. I had it for this blog. I had no clue what to write about. I can't keep writing about teasing my book. There's something called copyright infringement there, so I can't violate that too much.
Yeah, there's a line out there, and you're flirting with it. You're
I got my limit. I know what I can do, but. So, speaking about that, we're ready to go down to North Carolina here this weekend and go to the Christian Product Expo. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we won't be iced in or snowed in. We got a snowstorm heading this way. And we're going to leave Friday afternoon, head down to Charlotte for a few days.
I forgot to bring up your podcast. I know we've already gone a little over, but
Are we
folks,
over?
Well, yeah, but look, folks, I listen to Dell's podcast. It's great because on Sunday morning I drive to work and it's perfect. I've got enough time to listen to the whole thing, got signal the whole way. And I've gotten to where I really kind of depend on it to kind of give me a break. And though I tell you though, the one you did last week set the bar pretty high, but you did it good.
Well, that was actually, it was a story about Chad Pennington when I interviewed him up at the Super Bowl. And actually, when I wrote that piece, I wrote a little inspirational piece for Athletes in Action. And that piece took off. I mean, it was shared close to 3,000 times on Facebook. And it was just the story that Chad had. Plus, he's a pretty popular guy. Somebody got a hold of it at Marshall University and shared it, and they shared it, and they shared it. So, because he's a Marshall grad. And, he's well thought of there at Marshall, so he still comes back once in a while. So that piece just kind of took off about, he feeling betrayed and going through the fire when he didn't know why he was going through the fire, but then he later found out, and it was all good. But at the time, he didn't know why he was going through that trial we did. So just good lessons to learn, and I think I'm trying to find my niche and my platform there. If I can get it on a little bit more exposure, hopefully, we can just see what happens with it. But it's fun. Again, I just take that on a 10-15 minute. I've never edited it yet. I just get on and talk.
Well, it's like this. There's really no script. You've obviously got some ideas in your head when you start, but you just start and wherever it goes, it goes.
If I rehearse it, I'll blow it up. If I rehearse it, I'll have to recut it numerous times.
And you writers are the worst because you believe in writing things, and so you'll write out this script and you start trying to read on a program, and folks, it doesn't come across right. I don't read nothing. No,
I can't. So I just get on and talk.
Yeah, it's well.
But thanks.
You're good at that. Yeah. Anyway, let me put that website up here one more time. DellDidway.com. If you can find his blog there and resources. And he's all, folks, if you haven't heard Dell and you say, gosh, he's got a book coming out. Listen, get used to that. He's always got a book coming out.
I got to start producing for next year. So.
He is a machine. I've never seen anything like it. But folks, I hope you'll visit that website and also find his podcast. He does his podcast on Saturday. I usually get to it on Sunday mornings. Great time.
And I'll start putting it on my website right now. It's on my Twitter, on my Facebook, on my Instagram pages, and things like that. So
go find it. Seek it and you will find it. Yeah, just connect with Dell.
And I'll follow you back. I'm always good at that. Send me a Facebook request or Instagram request or Twitter request or what a gab. Who knows what will be canceled next? But yeah,
we will be. It'll be.
I know
our turn's coming. I promise you. So
I've been briefly suspended before. So
I get it.
Well, you've been suspended indefinitely.
Right. Twitter. And I've made no effort. Well, I did initially. I'm still trying to figure out why. I mean, this happened a long time ago.
We know why. You have that word patriot in
Patriot,
your bio.
You
can't mention patriot. You can't mention America. You can't mention.
No.
Well, let's don't get started on that.
Yeah, we'll
freedom,
Constitution, other keywords that.
First Amendment. You can't mention that on Twitter. I mean, they just don't like it.
No, it's not a good thing. But Dale, thank you for speaking up on behalf of the First and Second Amendments and all others.
Well, thanks for everybody for listening. I appreciate that. I know Amy at Dallas has just sent me a message. She was listening. Kathy was in New Jersey, so appreciate that.
All right. Well, Dale, we look forward to doing this again next week. Appreciate you sharing, and keep doing what you're doing.
I'm trying.
All right, folks, there you see the view high atop the Eagle's Nest broadcast facilities right here at pjnet.tv. And that will wrap it up for tonight. But, we do this Monday through Thursday, and it is really great to see people in our chat room. I always enjoy going over the chat as soon as we get off the air here. But before I leave, I have a policy, and it's driven deep from my soul. I want to share it with you because I do think it's important. It's 2 questions. You don't have to answer me or anybody else, but I would like you to answer yourself. Number 1, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Number 2, how long ago was that? I hope none of us will be satisfied with either answer.